Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Bucket.
What's up, guys? Happy start of 2023.
Started it all.
I hope that we can have a better year this year than last year, but the lack of news already is not, great.
Hey, no news is good news, right?
Unless you're trying to do a show about news stuff. And
I mean... Well,
then we just become
news.
like every
Well,
news
it might just mean we need to change our
ever,
format
and
up a
just start
little
making shit up.
bit when this stuff happens.
start making shit up, man, Baka. I hear you. Oh, man. So we had Christmas and New Year's. What did we get on the Steam sale? Did you guys buy anything? Who bought more games for their backlog?
I ended up with Wandering. Was it the Wandering Village? Yeah, the Wandering Village. Which I'm totally not addicted. Which I'm totally to at all in any way whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's a little tiny city builder that takes place on the back of a big giant turtle. For better ways to tell you what it is, it's not really a turtle, but it's just addictive. So, and it's still in early access, so they can change up the game as much as they want. And I know I got it, and I know I got other things, but I can't remember all of them. So.
I didn't really spend any money this time around. I don't think I bought anything. I gifted a copy of Played Up to Baka, but I think that's all I did. I meant to buy. Ollie was talking about the Alan Wake game, and I meant to buy that so that I could play it and we could talk about it together because he's playing it. But I forgot to buy it because I put it in my cart and then forgot about it, and the sale ended, and it's like something in your cart changed prices, and I was like, oh no.
That one goes on sale a lot, so you'll be all right.
I put it back on. I told Ollie I put it back on my wish list so that I could get it next time it does go on sale. So I forgot about it, but I don't think I bought anything. Did we?
I don't think I got anything this time around either.
I don't think so.
I was like, I'm playing games on Game Pass and stuff at the moment, so I like it. Going around being a hitman.
We finally got to play a game that we bought last sale, which was First Class Trouble, which is one of those like Deceit Among Us kind of games where you have stuff that you should be doing, and then two people are bad people, and you got to try to suss out who's bad. But it's on a space station that's set in like the 1940s-ish because it's very Art Deco and everything. It's pretty fun because when you vote somebody out, it actually puts them in an airlock, and you actually have to push the button to eject them into space so you can watch the whole thing happen.
Unless it happens to you.
Oh yeah, and then you're just in the airlock,
or if you accidentally go into the airlock and your friends send you out anyway.
I didn't know the door was gonna close behind him and shoot him into space. I didn't know
that's why I said hold it, Grif.
Sure.
Yeah, but Chicken's like, why are you doing that? The key is right here. And I was like, oh, why am I doing this then? And I let go, and it was holding the door for Baka, and he got shot in the face.
Then I turn and see Baka stuck in the airlock going, I was like, oh shit, Grif just killed him. And then he gets sucked out.
She could have been the bad guy, and that would have been like the perfect play.
But I wasn't. That's the thing.
I know you weren't, because I was the bad guy in that one, me and one other person. So,
Oak, by the way,
I think it was Cat.
I think Cat's the bad guy a lot in that game for some reason.
She is.
Yeah, she is.
Let me tell you a thing I learned on our last game, the last time that we played this weekend. In the garden area, like the tooltip for it when you're loading in is maybe you don't stop and smell all of the flowers or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, so I was trying to run to where Chicken and City were, and I was like, oh, I'll just cut the corner here. There's a Venus flytrap that will actually eat you. I died.
What?
Yes. I was not ready. I didn't know that was going to happen, or that was a thing that could happen. And I was like, cool.
So I wonder when does your microphone turn off?
When you get eaten.
Like immediately when they start biting?
Yeah, basically the thing goes bloop and you're gone.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that's a thing I learned. That's useful. Just, And
I killed Cat that game, which was my partner,
yeah,
too. Feels
he just
bad,
didn't
man.
even... We were all like, why? Because Baka and I were both dead, and he killed Cat, and Baka's like, that was his partner, wasn't it? And I was like, I don't know, why would he do that? Cat's like, I have no idea.
I was not. She was by herself, and I was like, all right, I have a chance to kill her right here. And I didn't even think about, but like, hey, who's your partner? Because I was literally in the mindset that I have to kill everybody.
But you have a partner.
Sometimes it doesn't feel like that.
The crazy thing to me is when you first start out, and all of us are going up to these oxygen machines and everything else. I was expecting canisters when they were like, "There's canisters of oxygen." I was expecting like giant scuba tank size, and there's these little cans laying around. And so we died. All of us died from the freaking lack of oxygen. And I was like, "Okay, this is a little OP." But then I found out later it's because the bad guys were sabotaging it all.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, this makes a little bit more sense." But there's an animation for that, so you can kind of tell somebody's doing it. If you're paying attention.
The animation is literally like them sneaking down and like looking and then doing it again and then looking. Like, yeah, it's yeah. I will say, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you.
I came up with a pretty good strat for the first level, because the first level is all about getting equipment and whatnot, which I ran out immediately into the front area and picked up the thing and came back to my little zone. So when everybody came out, they were all like, "Oh, it's gone. Who came out here and got this?" And when I was with Grif, I knew it was the end of my plan, because I think it was Red that was with me in that one. So I did not trust that he was going to be it and try the same strat. So I ran out there. Grif's like, "What are you doing? We got stuff to do." And I was like, "I need to make sure no one's taking this thing." Then the next round, I come out and everybody comes out of their room fucking looking over the balcony. And I'm like, of course you motherfuckers are going to start doing this shit.
You ruined that strat for everybody.
Yeah, but at least I got it the first time. Whatever.
There was one round where I was the bad guy, and I don't remember who my partner was. It might have been Kat. But we were in the second area, and Chicken had been running around with Snitty, and had done some. I think he did one of the like little checkers where it tells you who, if somebody is in it, that they're innocent or not. So Snitty knew that Chicken was innocent, and they were up close to the front area where you turn in key cards, and there was some fire next to it. And I run over there with them, and Chicken's like, "I don't know, I'm kind of sus of Snitty." And I was like, "Are you?" Because Snitty was just standing still. I'm like, "Are you?" Because there's a push mechanic, and I go shove and shoved him into the fire. And he caught fire.
Okay. And it gets more ridiculous after that. Luckily, I had a fire extinguisher. Okay.
I was like, you said you were sus. I was trying to help. I trust you.
So I put him out. And I was like, okay, cool. And then one of them starts the emergency oxygen release. Basically, you have to go, it's like an Among Us, you have to go turn the oxygen back on or everybody dies. So it's like, all right, I'm going to head over to this one. And Grif was following me, and Snitty went the other way. Snitty should have came with me, like, straight up been like, okay, I trust this guy with my life, I'm going to stick with him. No, Snitty went off the other way, and I went with Grif towards this one, and I was just...
the conversation, he went to go fix it, and I was right next to him, and he goes, "I really appreciate your willingness to go in on that, but it was a little aggressive, but thanks for it." And then I just stabbed him with the syringe. He's like, "No," while he was complimenting me. I was like, kind of
like I liked it. It was a good aggressive play, but then like in my head it was like, she's gonna kill me here, isn't she? Because she was looking for a way to kill. Yeah, here we go. And nobody was around, so nobody could hear me scream, and I just died.
It was so beautiful. So beautiful.
Oh, not as good as Grif's goofball game. Oh, it was so good. You remember it, Baka, because you were my partner.
Oh,
it was Grif, Baka, and Red. Oh, here we go. It was Grif, Baka, Red, and me. And I killed Kat or somebody, and somebody saw me.
Yeah, I think it was Kat.
After Snitty was already dead earlier on in the game.
No. I killed Snitty. Everyone was like, oh my god, it's Chicken. So Red and Grif started chasing you. And Snitty stopped to put in air into the thing. So I killed him. And then...
They were trying to kill me, and Baka comes up and starts shoving them, and...
I didn't know who was shoving who.
I know, you couldn't tell who was pushing who, and it turns into a giant clusterfuck, and eventually they kill me, and Grif is like 100% on fucking kill Red train. Like, she is like, kill him, Baka get him, and Baka's like, Sure, let's do it. Let's kill Red, and
Okay,
they
but
kill Red.
Let me explain to you why I thought that it was you and Red, though. Is because Baka was with me doing objectives, and we heard you and Red from, like, a level below us or something. I heard the proximity mics, and you said something that sounded kind of sussy. And then Red goes, you think who's left? I mean, it's just one, right? And I was like, okay, they're partners, and they're hashing their stuff out together because they think they're alone. And Baka and I are putting a fire out. I was like, so obviously it's those two. I had reason to believe that it was Red, okay? It wasn't just like I picked him because he was hanging out with Chicken. You're hanging out with the wrong crowd or something.
Respect, but I'll respect. But watching it, I watched Baka push your ass like 4 times to make you let go of me.
One of the things that we did learn, though, when it was me and Baka as the bad guys together, we needed to kill Red, and we pushed him down, and he fell over a box, and when he got back up, I grabbed him, but Baka could not strangle him. Like, it did the animation and the sound, but it wouldn't kill him, because he was on the box, so it was basically like, it couldn't complete the death animation, so he could just live.
That happened in another game, too. The model animations get a little wonky when they're not, like,
quite
on
right?
surface. Yeah, so they get a little wonky, because that's happened a couple of times.
That's the difference between a game that's releasing for $60 and one you buy on Steam for like $5.
Really? There's a difference between those two?
There can be.
Sometimes it does not feel that way.
I've seen $60 games and they feel just the same.
Yeah.
Or worse.
Yeah, or worse.
Or, Alien Colonial Marines, where the AI dances on boxes for you.
Yeah, that one too.
I don't think they're supposed to do that.
No.
There was another one that we got to the end where we had to shut down the machine, and somebody let me go across the bridge, and they were over there by themselves.
That was the one with Red. You went across.
I went across. Well, then the 2 people came across with me, or there were 3 people, because I opened up the bridge because you guys were trying to kill my partner. And
that was the one with Red where we found out you couldn't kill them because of the box thing.
Okay, and then I let him run across, and then I think it was you 2 that were chasing him, and then I let go of the bridge while you were on it, and somebody fell to the bottom and died, and it was me and Red versus Baka, and it was like, oh, how the tables have turned, and we strangled him and killed him. Oh, Grif pushed me off. We did a different one.
Although I'm curious, how do you strangle a robot?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how you strangle a robot, but we're not going to ask.
The O2 dispenser, I don't know. But we did a different one on that level, and Grif pushed me off of that
oxygen,
one.
Though.
Doesn't matter, Parker. You just got to go with it. You crush the cables leading to the brain source, so...
There you go. I mean, you've ripped cables out, but yeah, Grif pushed me off the map on that one. I was
Oxygen's
very
what your... the engine on the inside of your body works in, since oxygen's flammable.
It keeps
it's
the
combustion
brain
engine.
chips cool.
That's what it is. Something like that. But that game has been a lot of fun. I'm glad that we've added it to our repertoire of stuff.
It's 1950s sci-fi. What's better than that?
Oh, man, it's so good, too. Like the puzzles and having the fire extinguishers and the different ways to get through. I think... I went through a door, and Grif came in through, too, because I couldn't get over the counter to get into the room, so I had to go around the backside and get in. And Grif come running in and tried to get it, and I pushed her over the counter, and she was on the other side of the room, and I was like, I guess that's one way to get out, but you stay over there. This is my log.
Oh, man. We've had a lot of fun. There's a lot of stories that we could tell. We've played, I think, almost every weekend since right before Christmas. So we've had a few weekends with it. But it's been a lot of fun. Yeah. And then I've been playing my new crack is my old crack. And I've been playing some Overwatch, which will lead us into the news, so that's nice. But I'm really upset about the Battle Pass, and I'm not the only one based on the Overwatch subreddits, because it is
predatory.
It's predatory because they give you an OP champ that you want to be able to unlock as early as possible, so they want you to buy the Battle Pass and then buy the boost for the Battle Pass so that you can get the new champion. And the new champion has an ultimate that will literally team kill the whole other team, and there's really not a whole lot you can do about it in most scenarios. Because even if you knock him down, like you stun him and put him to sleep with Anna's sleep dart and things like that, he's still doing the AoE damage. So he just gets right back up and then murders everybody anyway. But it's really unfulfilling as a battle pass situation, which I know we've talked about, but the more you look at it, the more it really is like, if you want to get anything in the game at all, you need to buy the battle pass, because the only way you're going to get new skins, it's the only way you're going to get, you know, all of the fun stuff, I guess, because you can't just go and buy it on the store, and it's stupid. It's stupid. But the game itself is still fun. So it's like, I'm not going to spend any money on it. Luckily, I already have a bunch of skins from Overwatch 1. But I won't be getting skins and stuff for the new heroes or anything like that, because they don't.
Well, you will if you get the battle pass.
I'm not buying the battle pass. I'm not giving them money for that garbage.
You get a free one at the end of the battle pass for the new hero.
Oh, yeah. It's a recolor of his current skin.
No, it's the epic one. It's like the really big fancy one. At the end of the battle pass, the Ramatra one.
Oh, is that free? I thought that was one of the premium ones. Are you
That's-
sure it's not?
That's
the
a
free one
premium
is
one.
the recolor.
It might just be the recolor then, because I know.
Yeah, the recolor you get at like level 70, I think, is when you unlock that in the battle pass. And so it's a recolor of his normal outfit, and I got an emote for him for free, and you unlock him like 20, 25, something like that into the battle pass.
45.
45. So you got to play, like, if you're playing casually, probably 2 weeks before you unlock him. But it's dumb the way they have it set up, and the fact that you can't get anything fun unless you spend money. So
It's a very unrewarding game.
It really feels like they're, and if you remember, this was Overwatch 2's big draw, was it was supposed to be where it also had PvE modes. They haven't even released those or talked about when they're going to release.
Oh, really?
Those. They're like, eventually we'll get there.
They talked about it. It's going to be like spring of this year.
Eventually. You give me a date in spring of this year. That's not eventually.
When you say spring, it means that's probably going to get pushed back again. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it feels like
spring is 3 months. So
it feels like this was like, hey, we need to get this out the door because our community is dying off.
And we need to make some money off of it because nobody's buying Overwatch 1 loot boxes anymore, and we can't sell them in certain areas. So we need to push out Overwatch 2, kill Overwatch 1, like completely disable it because it has the loot boxes, and that's what they're going to say it was for, is they had to because they couldn't use the loot box system because it's gambling.
I thought when they put out... Okay, I'm confused by this. I thought when they put out Overwatch 2, it just overtook Overwatch 1.
It did. It was
completely
overwriting
removed it.
the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't like go back to Overwatch 1 servers where it's 6v6 or anything like that. It's only Overwatch 2.
Well, you could still do custom games.
You can do
And you have
custom games, sure.
all of that.
But that's not how it's actually set up. You won't get, XP or anything for that for doing the custom games.
You do. You get it a little bit.
It's not
It's
much.
not. Oh no, it's not much. But I mean, it's the same thing with every game, including Phasmo, where you do custom games. You still get rewards.
The system is unrewarding, though. And that's part of the problem. So, even if you're buying the Battle Pass, a lot of it feels incredibly lazy. Like, one
Trust
of
me, it is
the
very
Ramatra
lazy.
emote that you get literally is him just putting a staff in front of him and turning it into a trident. It's like, that's pretty lazy. So, the new event that they're doing right now is just a skin show off. It's a Battle for Olympus is what it's called, and so you locked into, it's a free-for-all deathmatch, and the champions that are available to you are the ones that have the new skins, and it automatically equips them and gives you a different ultimate ability, essentially. So it's basically just to show off the new skins, because it's not fun. It's like
No.
four
But they're
tanks.
attaching an ability to the skin.
Yeah, well,
No,
just
no,
for
no,
the event.
no.
Just for the
For
event.
that game
Currently.
mode.
Yeah.
For the
Currently.
game mode.
Yeah,
For the
currently
game
for the game
mode.
mode. But yeah, they have, and it's not even a balanced thing. It's 4 tanks, 1 healer, and 1 DPS. And the DPS it's Widowmaker, and then Lucio is your healer. Why would you ever pick Lucio?
I don't know
Aside
what Lucio's
from trying
special
to
ability
grind
is.
up his title, because
What's
you
his
can get
special
titles
ability?
now. I have no idea.
Well, a special
Because you gotta
ability with
understand-
that outfit on.
Yeah, well, yeah, in that thing, because Widowmaker's is like super fucking OP.
Yeah, she
If-
just looks
yeah,
at people because she's Medusa.
Well, she looks at people, and if they look at her while she's scoped, they turn to stone and they die. It's so. I don't know what Lucio's is. What is this Battle for Olympus thing?
Yeah, his skin is Hermes, so because he's got a speed boost. So obviously it makes sense. Also, the reward that they're giving you for competing in this event is the Mercy skin from 4 years ago. So if you go to do the event because you want the reward that comes with it, you're just getting an old skin.
Not even any of the new ones.
Yeah, it's not any of the new ones for the event. It's Mercy's old skin that does look kind of Greek themed, but why are you giving out old content as rewards for new content?
That's weird.
They want you to buy the new stuff.
Oh yeah, they fucking like Lucio is perfectly capable of soloing in it. He can double jump off of walls. He can boot people into walls and stun them. He doesn't have to reload, and his attack and move speed is incredibly high. So
but,
basically,
if you're trying to do that against a Roadhog that can self heal,
you could just keep him stunned in the walls forever. Like perma stun him. He can push people away.
From what I've been reading, and I've been spending a lot of time on the Overwatch subreddit because I enjoy seeing what everybody thinks about it. A lot of people are unhappy with it. It does feel incredibly lazy, and the battle pass feels like cash grabs for whales. It's filler content. I was trying to figure out why they were putting filler content in right now, and it's because the Chinese New Year's is at the end of the month, so they're trying to get something filled in for the middle of the month, and they're not going to just let it sit empty without some sort of prerogative to make money. So they did the Christmas event, then they'll do a filler content, then they'll do Chinese New Year, then they'll do some more filler event, then they'll do the end of the season, then they'll do another event, and they'll just always be something. Always be something. I mean, I don't mind always be something, but it's the way that they present it in the battle pass and how unrewarding the system feels. Oh, yeah. Why do I care? It's like, well, play the game if you like the game, and that's essentially what I'm doing. I'm just saying it's not fair to new players because they're not going to get anything.
And that's honestly, always what it boils down to. Cosmetics don't matter.
I kind of feel like they should either do it where it's like, okay, you can pay to get the skins faster, or you can just play a lot and unlock them.
And they are very expensive in most cases, too. So if you are buying the currency for them, you're going to spend some money.
Oh, yes.
So... Except for the holiday, they gave away the Bastion skin because you could buy it for 1 coin. And it's like, why would I buy it for 1 coin? That offsets all of my coins now. Why would I do that? It's dumb. But that's okay. The game's still fun.
Gave it away by buying for 1 coin.
Yeah.
All you got to do is do like a weekly set of like 3 weekly quests, and then you get 10 coins, and you could have bought it. But
yeah,
I feel like you have the emotes and stuff like that you can do in Sea of Thieves, and they give away 1 emote per season or like per battle pass essentially. Yeah. But it's not in the battle pass. You have to go into their store because that's where they want you to go because they're trying to sell product, right? Mm-hmm. But everybody goes in there and they click, even if they don't want the emote, they click it anyway because they might end up using it eventually anyway. So it's there, but it's free. It is literally free. It has 0 on top of it. I feel like they didn't make their system to where they could give away something for free. So they're like, shit, we'll just put 1 coin on it.
That'll fix it. You know? That'll also make somebody eventually have to buy another pack of coins because they need that 1 more to get the thing they want.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So... it feels really scummy is what it feels like. It's one of those things where it's like, I get it. The cosmetics don't matter and they don't change the gameplay and everything, but it feels like a scummy practice.
I am convinced now based on this new mode that's going to be a thing.
Except for the Widowmaker skin.
I am 0% convinced about that because that would basically instantly kill your game.
Yeah.
Instantly kill your game. Like even the Overwatch pro players wouldn't be playing. Like, how could you even imagine?
They could create an entire. They could do what they're doing now with the arena thing, but do it to where you have multiples, like 5v5 version of that, and make it separate from the regular one. You know,
And you can only participate if you've bought the skins, or
Not
if you own
necessarily.
the skins.
No, I mean it would do exactly what it did before, which was go into the actual game. But like the Mercy's only available to you if you won the other one. Well, it's a 4-year-old skin. Who the fuck cares?
I mean, a lot of people already have it. I do.
Yeah, I mean,
When I saw that was the reward, I was like, why would I bother? I already have that. It was from 4 years ago. So, I don't know. It just seems weird.
didn't the guy that was originally, am I correct on this? Didn't the guy that came out and announced Overwatch 2, he's no longer with the company, is that correct?
Jeff Kaplan, yes, he is
Okay.
no longer there.
I feel like he had an entire outline of what needed to be done. It was nowhere close to done, and it was pushed out quicker than it needed to be.
Yeah, I think he was unhappy with how it went and how it was being handled and the direction that it was going, because he seemed like he actually cared about the game as far as Overwatch 1 goes. And he was excited about Overwatch 2, but I think it's by the time it got to actual launch, it was not what he wanted it to be. And it was not something that he wanted to support. So he's like, yeah, I gotta go.
I mean, and the Battle Pass is such an easy fix. It's so unbelievable. What, there's 85 levels? You swap it around. Like, I've said it many times before, but Sea of Thieves is the better way to do it. Like, you get something every level. It's a few coins. It's some tokens. It's some shitty charm. It's some...
And for hardly anything.
Skin. Yeah, like it's for, like, nothing. Like, it's, a bunch of filler content, but you're getting something. Every so often I see my little coins up there, and I was like, how did I get some more of those? Oh, that's right. I get them from the Battle Pass. I leveled up a few times.
Because here's my thing. Like, if you go in and let's say you get a double kill, does that count extra, or is it just 2 kills? That's your XP?
No, it is none of
No,
that.
it's
It is
like base
only
game.
game.
Yeah,
it is
it's
finishing
per
a game.
So I mean,
it's
you
per
could
game.
go
See,
in
that
and
should
like...
be. You should have at least a little bit of XP stuff raised in as you play the game.
No, it's just completing games and playing consecutively, doing fill rolls. Like, you get a bunch of bonuses for how you played the game. Like, we play all queue, and we get bonus XP for that. You get bonus XP for playing consecutive games and things like that. Completing dailies and such and such and such.
I do like the fact that they're making it to where the KDR chasers are out there, and they're like, well, shit, we can't make it about our KDR. We actually have to do stuff in the game and succeed in order to be able to move forward. That's one of the things that Call of Duty did horribly, is because you would go into a game that was, objective based, and all they care about is their KDR, because they set it up to where it counted inside those games just as much as it did in the regular multiplayer.
Well, but that would be exclusionary in a game like Overwatch, where you have support players. Somebody like a Mercy or an Ana is not going to get double kills and triple kills and team kills and things like that, because it's just not in their capabilities. So it'd be really unfair to be like, you're not going to get rewarded, but your DPS who just threw out an ult happened to be at the right time, but they've been terrible the rest of the game, is going to get rewarded for that. Like, that would be incredibly unbalanced.
But that's what I was saying before, like...
Or all the Ramatra players that just ult and win.
Well, you could be, it could be one of those where you turn around and you go, okay, this person's ult, if they succeed for this much, depending on what it is that ult is. So let's use Mercy for an example. You're raising people from the dead, basically.
No, it's not raising people from the dead. It's healing. Her
Healing?
res ult's been gone for a long time. Yeah.
Well, you can tell you how long it's been since I played. But, it's one of those where if you've got a certain one that it is a killing one, then you would be able to set it up to where if yours gets a triple kill, then you get XP for that. Not a single kill. Not you going in and making those kills.
The problem is some of those ults are dependent on other people. Baptiste and Ana are specifically the two that I can 100% say are dependent on other people, because Baptiste is a shield that goes down. Well, it's not a shield. It's a field that goes down in front of your team, and your team can shoot through it, and they get more damage boost or heal boost depending on what they're doing. So that's something that everybody on the team could feasibly use if your DPS and tank were smart enough to do it, but most of them are not. And then Ana is you power up another player. So it's one of those things where it's like I powered Chicken up in one of the games, and they immediately killed him before he could do anything. So I mean, like,
just remember, there are achievements in this game.
Yeah, there's
achievements
achievements
for those exact things.
Right.
But they can't.
They don't
really
offer.
reward.
they don't give battle pass stuff, and the weeklies and whatnot are literally for that. Like, I think one of the weeklies is like deal 50,000 damage, and then the other one's like heal 50,000 damage, or heal or deal 50,000 damage
without
or
taking
heal,
damage or something like that.
Well, no, you get to take damage. It's all
well,
fucking
no, one
cumulative.
Of them was without taking damage. I think it was
Play
heal
5
without taking damage.
Play 5 mini or random or custom games, or like all sorts of random shit that you're supposed to do throughout the week. They give you 11 daily or 11 weekly quests that you can get 50 coins, 60 coins for each week.
They got rid of account levels too now. Like, you don't get a level on your name tag or anything like that.
It's all battle pass stuff, all battle pass stuff.
So, which kind of sucks. It was kind of neat to be like, oh wow, that guy is level 99 or whatever. And then because they did the prestige system where you would have a border.
I am very, very, very upset that I am 4-star bronze or whatever. I was so close to silver, so close, or 5-star bronze, so close to silver, but whatever.
I'm kind of okay. Depending on how the player base is that's in Overwatch, okay with them getting rid of the ranking system in that respect, because then you're going to have those people, because you had people that were nerfing, they would have their nerfs and everything else that they would come in with and play that way and destroy people this way. They don't know who they're playing against and they just do it, right?
I mean, there's still MMR, though. You just can't see a number, and you still have ranked, so you can go and have a ranked match, but I don't think that shows on your profile.
Your account level. Your account level meant nothing.
I
have walked into diamond game where people diamond glistening borders that play like a baboon. It's like, oh yeah, you've played this game for like 10,000 hours, but you still don't know how to work a controller.
It was one of those like personal things. It's kind of like with Phasmo. That number next to my name doesn't mean anything aside from how much time I've put into the game, but I like it. I like to see it. It makes me feel good. It was just a minor thing that, you didn't have to take away because there's no way to sell it back now.
Yeah, they could have just left it on your regular screen. It wouldn't matter to anybody else anyway.
But
I'd agree with that.
But they got rid of that too, so it is what it is. But I mean, there's a lot of things that may or may not happen in the near future based on whether or not Microsoft gets to acquire them. If Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard, I wonder how much they're going to start looking into their games and changing how some of that stuff works.
Honestly, that's my only hope for Overwatch 2. My only hope is for them to go, look at this. Now look at Rare. Now look at this. Now look at Rare. Okay, there's enough sprays. There's enough player icons. There are enough minor stuff to fill up a battle pass. There are enough skins, sprays, everything. I mean, even if you don't want to give away a bunch of skins, you could do like 3 or 4 green skins, or do 2 uncommon skins, 1 rare skin, 1 epic skin at the end that you can just give people so that they can accumulate. If you don't get it in this battle pass, well, good luck. You've got to buy it. But you get coins throughout the entire battle pass, and what lets you buy skins.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't like that you can't buy individual skins now.
Well, they give you enough coins.
Legacy coins.
They give you enough coins in the Sea of Thieves one to pay for the battle pass.
They do the same to this one.
Really?
But I think it gives you enough per battle pass to buy the next one, and that's it, though. Like, it doesn't let you accumulate anything extra.
Well, I think at the end of the battle pass, you get extra coins. So basically, if you hit cap and then keep playing hard, you get more coins on top of that.
Do you? That's good. I mean, but that battle pass is long enough that if it's not something that you're playing like several hours every night, you're probably not going to hit the end of the battle pass.
If it's not your main game. But, I mean, if you're playing casually.
They don't care about you, so it's not about you.
Exactly.
You casual scrub. How dare you want to jump into a couple of rounds and look cool?
Yeah, you don't get that. I mean, if you want to look cool, you can pay for it.
Yeah.
I think they've got the wrong idea of where the money should be.
Yeah.
The money's in your casual player. I mean, Fortnite proved that one.
I don't
Fortnite
know.
proved the casual player.
Oh.
Because if you turn around,
they keep getting lawsuits for, like, I think they just had to pay another 200 million or something for accidental purchases and underage advertising.
Yeah, for people that can't parent their kids as well as the stuff.
I don't even know what accidental purchases is.
Accidental purchases was they had a bug when Overwatch 2 launched, and we talked about it on the show. But there was a bug where if you were looking at a skin, sometimes it would auto purchase, and they said they were not going to refund those. because they couldn't tell which ones were auto purchased and which ones were legitimately purchased, and then somebody wanted to refund it.
Man, that really smells
Wow.
like accidental, all right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we like at the time. We were like, "There's no way somebody's not going to sue them for this because you can't just take their money and be like, well, too bad."
Well, I guess here's the thing: is you would have to prove that the accidental purchase happened. So evidently, there's a way to trace the bug, that trace the people that actually that happened to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're right. They were in the right in that one, because if you got 500 people that are coming at you and saying this happened to me, okay, there's a reason for concern. If there's thousands of people coming to you, there's a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
something has actually happened.
yeah, but if there's 10 people that come at you and say, I accidentally purchased this, it sounds like somebody didn't know what they were doing. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like they were able to trace that in some way. Because who do you prove who actually purchased it and didn't for real? If you can't trace it.
I would guess that it's probably the accidental purchases didn't automatically equip them either.
Yeah.
So it was like,
Oh,
no.
maybe that's too. Yeah, that's a thing
Yeah.
too. We were charged and there's nothing here.
Yeah, like how long after the purchase did you file a support ticket?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I didn't want this.
I'm sure a lot of people were like immediately like, okay, I didn't mean to buy this and somehow it bought it for me. What do I do? And they're like, nothing. Enjoy your new skin.
Motherfucker.
It's not popping up on my account. I didn't even pay for it.
So, but yeah, there's like a lot of stuff happening, and I don't know, maybe it'll get better if Microsoft does get to purchase them, but of course that's still up in the air. That like half of our articles this week are Microsoft FTC things, so it's
Well, 4 of them are dedicated to just the FTC stuff alone.
Microsoft over there getting spicy in the news.
Well, it's the biggest thing happening right now. I mean, after when June rolls around, it's gonna be the biggest thing. Like, Microsoft taking control of Activision Blizzard is gonna be some big news.
Right. Well, Microsoft is being sued apparently by the FTC for the merger or the acquisition, and then Microsoft's like, we're gonna file a countersuit because that's unconstitutional, and they're like, oh wait, let us walk that back a little bit because maybe we were wrong about that. So that's been a fun back and forth. I think one of the comments mentioned this, and I think they're probably right, is that it was likely that Microsoft filed that under the assumption that they were already going to have been sued for something, so they couldn't be sued for the same thing twice. And that might have been the thought process. It just got filed too soon. So it's kind of like showing your hand before you really could.
Yeah, they had to reword it and send it back to them, which they fixed.
Yeah. No, it's not an unconstitutional thing.
And to be fair, in stuff like this, that happens a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't usually see it because it's not, in our purview.
Well, and when you're a massive corporation, you expect your hundreds of lawyers to get the shit right the first time.
Yeah, I know, right? Expect somebody to catch it. What the fuck do they pay you for?
Right?
Nothing.
Apparently. Nothing.
FTC is currently not in any types of talks with them right now either. Like, nothing other than the talking about the lawsuit in general. So there's no settlement possibility or anything like that that's going on. The thing about it is it's like, if you listen to the guy's like, okay, well, look what they did with the purchase of Bethesda. They said that they were going to have all this stuff. They told Europe that they were going to keep some of the stuff to where it was multi-platform. And then you have Redfall and Starfield that are coming out exclusive to Xbox only.
And PC.
Right. On their format is basically what it is. So it is, which if you remember, they worded that one strangely to start with when they first asked about it. And they were basically like, any existing stuff is going to stay where it is. Everything else is up for negotiation, but it's, and it sounds like it honestly, if you, I wish I could find where it said, which article it was. Cause there's so many articles on here. But the article, the way the guy wrote it, it sounded like a fanboy of Sony mad on Twitter. is the way it was worded. It was like, well, they've done this before. Look what they did when they bought ZeniMax. They just turned around and they said, we're not gonna do this, but then they ended up doing it anyway.
I mean, they act like Sony doesn't do the same thing.
I know.
Silent Hill 2 and Final Fantasy 16 are not coming to Xbox. Oh, and I guarantee...
It'll be on Steam, though, according to Steam right now.
I guarantee Microsoft came to the table and was like, hey, you want to negotiate these titles? Let's negotiate. What you got, what we got. Let's see if we can cross-platform. We don't want our stuff on Xbox. We want it only. And they're like, fine. You want to play like that? We'll take our stuff and go home.
That's been Sony's MO for the PS4, PS5 generations.
For years.
That's just what they're going to do. And the argument for their side is that it's a game that's already on their platform and future installments will not come to it. But, I mean, like, I don't know. It's hard for it to be like, oh, I feel so bad for you, when you're banking on something that was a third party and could have been exclusionary anyway. Like, it seems weird for you not to have anything in-house that you feel strongly enough will continue to carry your console. Well,
and when it comes to Sony, they have tons of really good games that are all exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's hilarious on so many levels that for at least 6 years, okay, since we've been doing this type of stuff, we've had to hear every Sony fanboy go, why would you buy an Xbox? They don't have any exclusives. They don't have any good exclusives. They never have any exclusives. And then you got the FTC going, they have exclusives. And it's like,
it's going to be too much and that's not fair.
Yeah, like, so which one is it, guys? Because I don't know what to tell you on that one. I mean, I feel like it's one of those where, it's like two fast food chains going at it and they're mad at each other. And one of them used, I don't know, a particular type of paper to wrap their burger up with. And the other one bought that company. And that one's mad at them because it's like, oh no, now they're going to have all the paper. And they're not going to let us have the paper anymore. And I go, no, we're going to sell you the paper. But we don't want to buy the paper from you. We don't want to buy the paper from you. Yeah. So they get the FTC
we're only
involved.
okay buying it from somebody else.
Yeah. But none of that paper's not made anywhere else. Yeah. It's like, come on, man. It's just, it's so stupid.
It's frustrating.
It does feel like the argument has shifted from, we need to sue them to stop this acquisition to protect consumers, to we need to stop this acquisition to protect the other company.
Yeah, that's definitely
and
what it feels.
It's just the other company. It's literally just Sony. Nintendo's like, meh.
Nintendo don't care. Nobody going after Nintendo, and Nintendo don't put their shit anywhere.
Well,
they don't even give PC an eye. They're
it's because Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo and Microsoft are currently in discussions right now on whatever the next Switch is, trying to get Call of Duty on that. They're also working on trying to make the cloud gaming aspect of Game Pass work on the Nintendo Switch. So it's like they're working together. And see, that's what I would bring in. You know how you how to defeat this crap in the FTC? You bring Nintendo in as one of your key witnesses.
Man, just thinking about it, Sony needs to follow Nintendo in that respect. Make your first-party exclusives. Focus on your first-party exclusives and bring everything else into it. Everything from everywhere else, you just bring it in. Like Nintendo's like, you want to be on the Switch? Let's see if it'll run on the Switch. Skyrim, cool. Call of Duty, cool. Any indie game, cool. Anything you want to bring to the Switch, if you can run it on here, we're going to bring it in.
I guess the further argument that you could argue is for the consumer side of it, is the people that are like, well, I already have a PlayStation. I don't want to have to buy an Xbox or a PC to play my next Call of Duty. I think beyond that point, the argument could be, and I'm sure it's not going to be, but it could be, maybe now is a good time to find another franchise that you like. Sony should start working on something that would appeal to you, since obviously they don't have anything that does.
Because I mean, they shut down the company that their studio that did Killzone.
Yeah.
So it's like, which was the closest they had.
Call of Duty. I guess playing Call of Duty now is the same thing as like, I want to wear this specific designer's clothes. Like, I refuse to wear anything but Chanel. This has to be Chanel. It's like, well, this looks really good too. It's not Chanel. It has to be the right label.
I feel it's
like,
closer to like Wrangler jeans. Like you could go to Walmart and
Well,
buy
I
them, or
just
you could
picked
go
the
to,
label.
I wouldn't put them as like Chanel.
I mean, you got to like Microsoft would be dumb to make Call of Duty exclusive.
And I don't
Like,
think they would, but you're right. Sony wouldn't want to pay them for it.
There is no world that you are ever going to make up the difference by making it exclusive and then taking it off. Like, you take it off of them, you're not going to sell enough copies or enough consoles to ever make up the revenue that you would just selling it on PlayStation.
Just straight giving it to them, yes.
Yeah, like there's no way.
But Open's right. They don't want to buy the paper from somebody else.
They don't want to work with Microsoft.
Yep.
Sony does not want to bend the knee.
Which is, again, so weird because their cloud system is literally Microsoft's cloud system. They're buying that from them because they don't have their own. But
you're not supposed to look at that. That's behind the scenes, and you shouldn't think about that.
And the whole Call of Duty thing, what's crazy about the Call of Duty thing is, like, it's one of those where it's like, he was, like Chicken just said, they'd be dumb to do it. But the highest sold console for that game is the PlayStation. Actually, probably more than the Xbox and the PC together is probably PlayStation. It's so many PlayStation players play that game on it. And it's like, why would they get rid of that? They're looking at software. They are a software company first. They've always been a software company. They happen to have a console that they made in 2001. And ever since then, they're trying to make it profitable, but they want it to be about their software, which is why they have the Game Pass to start with.
And games and put stuff on PC and like anywhere it'll go. Work with Nintendo. They're like, we're going to make games and we're going to just make them accessible for everything everywhere. We want it to be a home entertainment center, not like your game console. We want it to be able to do everything, which they've always been like that. Again, a software company. They build you a piece of hardware, you stick under your TV, and you could do anything from it. You can play games, watch TV, do Netflix, Disney, anything that you want to do. Discord. Everything, anything.
Well, heck, the Xbox One, you could run your PlayStation through the Xbox One to your television and start them both at the same time. Like it was, that was the whole point of that system, was to run everything, right? But it just didn't catch on, so they moved on. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like, I think Grif nailed it on the head, which is this argument has gone from protecting a consumer to protecting one particular company. Just one.
Yes. Sony needs their interests protected. And instead of trying to find ways to combat by making their own first-party games that could compete, they're just going to try to get somebody else to stop Microsoft.
Again, they're not gonna work, because I guarantee Microsoft's gonna come in with a legal contract that says we will not make Call of Duty franchise exclusive, and be like, a legal binding contract. We will not do this. We still don't want to pay you, Microsoft. It's like, I mean, there's nothing more that you can do. Like, they are gonna let you have access to Call of Duty forever. But no, that will not be good enough.
I mean, it's even if it sells on PlayStation, it still makes Microsoft money. So why wouldn't they?
Yep.
True that.
Yep. I just think they think they're not going to get the same deal, and they don't. And I don't blame Sony and actually the FTC on this one. If I do think it puts them at an unfair advantage if they put Call of Duty on the Game Pass day one.
Yeah, it definitely does.
That puts them at an unfair advantage. I will 100% agree with that. But they've already said we won't do it if it's a violation for the FTC. We're willing to keep it off for at least 10 years. And it's like, to me, if you can't develop something that's going to be a good playing first-person shooter in 10 years to try to compete with Call of Duty, that's on you. Especially with the good studios that you have.
Yeah, but I mean, you're trying to create a franchise to rival or at least do something against Call of Duty at this point. Man,
I think you can create something different. You're not gonna have. It's still building, right? Because you're dealing with a game that's what, 20? How old is Call of Duty now?
21 years old. Because Call of Duty 1 Finest Hour came out in 2001.
Okay.
So 21 years, 22 years.
Yeah, you're dealing with the 21-year-old juggernaut.
At this point, it's like Madden. You can do other football games and stuff, but the name recognition of Madden is going to be what sells.
Well, I mean, that's the reason Madden's on its own. There used to be those games. Because everybody would sell the NFL would sell their rights out, and the players union would sell out theirs, and then you had two college games.
They bought like an exclusive.
Well, they did, but that's what I'm saying is it was one of those where it was also based on sales. Because if you went to, like, I liked Game Breaker, not NCAA. Game Breaker was great, it's fantastic, but they didn't have all the licensing that EA did, but they did have most of the licensing. So they didn't have like the stadiums, but they might have had the names of the teams and all that.
All right.
And then you would get to NCAA, and then when EA bought their exclusive, like there was some stuff that gameplay wise that was really good on Game Breaker that I wish they had added, but it was more arcade-ish. And I think that's the reason people didn't care for that. And the same thing for the old NFL games. They were more arcade-ish. What both NCAA did and what NFL did really well is they or Madden did. What they did really well where they made them to where the arcade part of it was gone. It was more of straight play. Let me play the game. Let me do the recruiting or let me do the drafting, depending on which game. And I think they did a really good job with that. But I think that's how EA got the exclusive, because they looked at it and go, it's not worth the licensing for us to sell the licensing out to this, because we're not making any kickback from it at all. And that's probably a players union's decision, because Madden did it first and then NCAA did it later. So, I mean, it either way. But I mean, I think in this case, you still have to you should still be able to create good games. Maybe not something to compete at Call of Duty's level, but you should still be able to create good games that compete at a good level. If you're already got one of the top adventure games that's out there with the Uncharted series, you've already got the top zombie killer game out there with the Last of Us,
which is getting a multiplayer game, isn't it?
They've been working on it, so yeah, probably.
Yeah. So eventually there'll be a multiplayer version of it.
Yeah, so they do a really good job. You've got the Souls style games. You've pretty much got for a while had an exclusive on.
But just because those are all good games, that doesn't mean they'll be able to make good first person shooters.
No, but I think you can find a company that can, style. And I think you buy a small company that's really good at their job.
But plus, if you remember with the PlayStation 3 era, mm-hmm. they had how many games that were supposed to be the Call of Duty killers?
Oh, I remember that.
Resistance, Killzone. What was the other one? Haze, I think is what the other one.
Yeah, I remember seeing those cases for Haze. That one didn't do real well.
Killzone sold really well, and then they did that one for PlayStation 4 and it tanked.
It's not impossible to do something in the first-person shooter genre. Like, I think one of the problems they ran into is they were competing with Halo in a lot of those, where they tried to make it kind of sci-fi-ish, and that's not what your Call of Duty people want. They want realistic military shooter. So, I mean,
right.
To be 100%
stick to what they
honest,
want, you could probably do it.
You're never, and this isn't like a slight to the console communities, but you're never going to get like a Call of Duty competitor or anything like that to come out on consoles first. You have to do it PC style. Like Steam, in my opinion, is going to be your best bet to get something like that. You do early access, you start building a community, you listen to it, you develop the game around that community blows up, it starts getting some really good recognition, people really start enjoying the gameplay. Like, you need to be able to build a foundation up instead of just creating something and hoping it does well. Like, at this point, and because I've seen it on Steam a million times, like, great indie games start at the bottom and come up. They don't just release something good. That's not how it works in this day and age, because if you try to release something, you're always going against a AAA game.
But it would be a AAA game if Sony purchased the studio, though. They would give them a AAA budget.
After they're done and have recognition, like after they're done developing their game and they have a huge community, It's like Phasmo or any other game that has like started at the bottom and really built a community. Like the Darker and Dark game that I play, I cannot understand how there were that many people playing it. At one point when we logged on towards the end, it was like 250,000 players online. I was like, holy fucking god, is there really that many people
play
playing
that again?
Like, I can't believe that there is that big of a community developed from this small little playtest.
Well, but that's one of the things that's one of the things Sony can do too, because PlayStation is not easy to develop for, which is part of the reason that they have really good first party games and their third party games are hit or miss depending on what's coming out. Because people don't like developing for it. But if you can take a game like you were talking about right there that already has a community that's built up and gets the hype with it, whether it's a streamer that's hyping it or whatever, some type of creative community that's hyping it, and then you buy the exclusivity for your console at that point, now you're transferring to the console. It's already on PC, but it's not on Game Pass. That's your competition at that point. Is Game Pass.
That's how you do it, because then you still have your community that you built up, and you are basically letting the water go into your pond. So now you've got this giant PlayStation community, and everyone's like, oh, I've never heard of this game. Oh, shit, this game has got huge reviews. It's super popular. It's got a giant fucking community. Let's check it out. Boom. Now you've started growing this community inside of the PlayStation. Now you're getting somewhere with it. Oh, yeah, I play Call of Duty. I've got this other game that we downloaded off this PlayStation store. You need to check it out. It's really good. That's how you do it. It's a slow, gradual growth. Over 10 years, you could absolutely do it. But you're not going to just make a game and release it against Call of Duty.
So taking it from the perspective of it will take a while to develop something that's competitive enough. So if Microsoft wrote in a clause in their purchase agreement for buying Activision Blizzard that was legally binding, Call of Duty will be available to Sony for the next decade, at the very least, does that negate the arguments?
No.
Because then it puts it on Sony. The onus goes to Sony to whether or not they'll actually pay for the licensing.
I think you go to Sony anyway. I think what you do is this. I think and they should have started this 5 years ago. Because if you think about it, Minecraft is still supported on Sony products. Mm-hmm. And when they bought it, they said, we're not doing anything with that. Because again, that was a very large community that's setting up. And then that game can be played anywhere now. So, don't you people have phones? So it's where I think what's going to end up happening, or what they should have done, is once they did that, is every communication when they wanted to release a game and they wanted to release it multi-platform, whether it was an existing game or whatever, they should have documented every conversation they had with Sony and said, we want to put this on here, blah, 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 all the argument, everything that's on there. And that's what could come out in this FTC thing. Look, we've tried. They won't buy from us.
Yeah. We're not, it's not that we're keeping them from purchasing it. They're refusing to purchase it. Mm-hmm. So that does put it on them. If that's the case, if Sony just doesn't want to buy it from Microsoft, I mean, that's
right.
Then that's not their problem. That's not
Microsoft's
problem
like,
at that
that's not
point.
my fault. We put it on the store shelves. If you refuse to buy it, that's on you. You know?
Exactly.
I think
I can almost guarantee that Microsoft buys games from Sony. Like, I'm sure that there are some games out there that Microsoft buys from Sony.
Well, not necessarily, but it is, if it's running on a Windows platform, then they're using
anything on Steam.
Then they're using their actual operating system to be able to run it. So that means they're having
Microsoft's paying a licensing fee for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, or the vice versa. They're having to pay Microsoft to be able to make the game to start with in that format. I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
I don't know how that works anymore. No. I just know there's some things that work on Mac, and some things work on Linux, and some things work on Microsoft, and some works in a combination of all of it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we can find somebody that could tell us how all that works, but that conversation is going to be between two people that know what the hell they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm just going to put in a random interjection here that has nothing to do with gaming at all. As we're recording the show, I just found my glasses. They're over there. They're right over there. They just have Funko sitting on top of the case.
Oh, you can get them.
I can't reach them right now.
Would you like me to come get them?
No, I'm good. I'm just saying. We started the show late today because I couldn't find my glasses.
Of course, they're right there.
I'm just glad you found them, to be honest.
Well, I mean, it won't matter in the next week or so because my new glasses will be here, but damn it. Anyway, back to Microsoft. Since we are talking about Game Pass and all, there's discussion of possibly doing a Microsoft Game Pass tier that is ad supported and would be cheaper.
I don't even know how much you could get cheaper at Game Pass. It's
I would like to say that this is from an unsourced screenshot written in Spanish. So I mean, like, the validity of this may be kind of iffy, but it's just one of those things where it's like, a couple bucks, you get the Game Pass stuff, but you have ads. I'm kind of wondering how the ads would work. Does it do like YouTube, where like you're in a cutscene and then all of a sudden at the bottom of the screen you see a countdown to the ads, and then it pauses your cutscene and plays an ad for you?
I don't know. I do know that.
I mean, I would assume that it would be all over the application.
I do know that Microsoft recently patented, or at least filed for a patent to have personalized ads in video games. So think of it.
They'd just be doing Netflix style where you get fucking Coke bottles everywhere.
I mean, as long as it's non-intrusive.
What I was thinking of is, they did that in Guitar Hero once upon a time.
Yeah, well, they did that in Death Stranding, actually. In Death Stranding, because we've been playing it, they just finished up the deal with Monster Energy. So when I played it, when I was in Sam's room, all of my drinks were Monster Energy drinks. But now that Chicken's playing it and their deal has ended, it's a generic one. But they still have, like, when he goes to take the shower so that you don't see his butt from the outside, but for some reason they'll show it to you while he's in the shower. It puts up an ad for a Norman Reedus show on AMC. So, I mean, there are ads in there. They're not personalized. They're deals that,
right,
Kojima made with somebody. But it's still, like, it's there. There's advertisement already in that game. It's not impossible. And like you said, the Guitar Hero thing was the first thing that popped up to me. I was like, I remember there being banners with actual, like, ads in it.
Yep.
And that people, that there are AI that keep track of how people play and everything and whatnot. And when you go to load up a game, you always see, like, the little opening cutscene and whatnot. Those motherfuckers will roll ads before you play the game.
Probably.
Because they won't do it afterwards, because you'll just close out. They will do it before. Like, when you go to load up the game, they will roll you some ads so that you can go get a drink or get something to eat or something like that while you wait for your game to load. And there are load screens. Why not go ahead and throw some ads in there, too?
Well, load screens are becoming less and less, though.
Yeah, true. But if they've got them, they're just going to throw them in there.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the game pops up, the ad ends, even if it's halfway through, because no one's gonna care.
The little digital land that's between scenes in Assassin's Creed. Your characters just running around.
Now that's an ad for Pepsi. But the ad supported tier, one of the other rumors attached to it is that it would come with a 6-month delay on first party games to Game Pass. So, like, one of the draws of Game Pass is, the new Halo's coming out. You can play it day one because it's on Game Pass. It would be like, well, you can play it in 6 months on this tier.
I mean, that's fine.
I mean, you still have 200 games to play.
I've got to wait a year for shit to come from Epic Games to Steam. What the hell is 6 months?
Well, and some people are like, 6 months, that's a feature, because that'll be enough time for them to actually let the first people play test it and fix it. It's like,
so you pay, normal Game Pass is the early access.
Pretty much becomes the early access.
Perfect. I'm sold. Perfect.
I would be interested to see how they do it, or maybe it's banner ads on the sides or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
As long as it's not during gameplay. Don't do it during game. Don't be intrusive.
I'm fine with during gameplay as long as it's part of the world I'm in. Like we were just talking about.
The drink cans or something like that, that's fine. But don't pause my game so that you can show me a 30-second ad.
I swear I'm gonna lose my shit if I'm in the middle of Skyrim and it starts playing out and the guy next to you goes, "Man, I sure am thirsty. Thank God for this Pepsi they left here." And then ties his hands back again. It's like, seriously?
Assassin's Creed doing the leap of faith jump, and then it just pauses in the middle of it and goes, has like Pepsi Man run across the screen or something. It's like, what the hell?
Or it's the leap of faith, but as you're going down, it has banners that you fall through that are the ads. God,
Perfect.
come on. You know, it'd be really
Hey,
frustrating.
don't give them ideas now.
It'd be really frustrating if every time you pause the game, it played an ad. Like, I just need to pause this for a second. My child is asking me a question. Why is there now 5 minutes of ads in my face? I don't.
What
want
if it'll
that.
do like play 5 minutes with the ads now and go 2 hours without having to have another ad?
Yeah, that's what
I'll
they
do it.
offer.
I'll do it.
That goes back to what he
that.
said before. Bathroom Blake. Click. Done.
I mean, to be fair, I think, what was it? Nintendo had that a while. Like, if you sat and played the game for too long, it would pop up a little notification. It's like, you've
Yep.
been playing too long.
Yeah,
You
the
need
Wii
to
U
take a
had that.
break. Yeah,
I don't know if the
you've been-
Switch does, but the Wii U does.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in a healthier world, that's actually a good thing where your game pops up after like 2-hour gaming sessions. Like, you need to stretch. Let me play these ads. Get the hell out of here.
Well, sometimes it would
Okay, I
pop
guess
up
I'll
like
just
you
start.
play in the Wii in the middle of the night, and it's like you should go outside, and it's like Nintendo, it's literally midnight and raining. No, please let me play my game. Why do you
could
think I'm in
snooze the
here?
ads for like a few minutes. Like, all right, I need to snooze the ads. I'm in the middle of something.
Yeah, Pokemon Go would do that. It would tell you to. You've been playing long enough. You need to.
Go
you
touch
need to
grass.
more.
No,
Go touch grass.
Nintendo.
Come on, man. I was like, I'm in the middle of Disney World. Like, I don't think I could get any more outside than I am right now. But all right, cool.
I know, right?
Maybe the Alps, but you're not gonna put freaking Pokemon up there. So no, I'm not doing it.
Well, I think that we'll see how they develop that, if that's a thing that they're actually working on, or maybe that's just some rumor that somebody made up. But, you know, we'll find out. I'm sure they'll comment on it eventually, probably when they're done dealing with the acquisition stuff. They'll be like, oh, there are these other things people are talking about. Let's start addressing that. Our backlog of issues.
Well, more Microsoft news. Well, sort of.
Good God. It's all Microsoft. Sony is so busy fighting Microsoft that they can't put any news of their own out. They're just busy. Microsoft's like, here's stuff.
So not too long ago, Hideo Kojima came out and said he was working with Microsoft to publish a new game. We got a little bit more details on it. Evidently, it has to do with the cloud-based system that Microsoft has, and they were the only person that said yes in the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, to
Everybody,
be fair, I do not blame them. If Hideo Kojima comes at you with an idea and you're just like, holy shit, really? You want to try that? Yeah, it's gonna work. I promise.
yeah, he
Dude,
said
you're
he's
crazy.
He said he's had like in his brain how he wants to work over the last 5 to 6 years, but the infrastructure needed was never needed before for anything. So it's going to be
that
built
is
from scratch.
crazy.
But that's why Hideo Kojima is Hideo Kojima. I will say this: I don't necessarily like his games, but the man thinks way outside the box and is innovative in that respect.
To be fair, like we've been playing Death Stranding, and we're playing it different this time than Grif played it.
Yeah,
and
it is very different.
I absolutely fucking love the connected style world that he developed in this, because when you connect, like when you go out into the unconnected zones, it's barren, it's empty, you've got nothing, it feels lifeless, and you're just trying to trudge your way through to connect the wilderness to the world. And then when you connect it, it's alive. You see other people's footprints, you see buildings, you actually see like the world is evolving, and it's more connected to the world. It is so nice to actually see it evolve as you explore it. And one of the weird ass features is that you can yell out into the distance, and if there is another player in your server cluster, you will hear someone yell back from the distance.
Oh, now that's cool.
Like every so often,
cool.
I'm like, hey, yell to see if anybody's around. I'd be like, hey. And you'll hear, hey there. Like way out in the distance. It's like, hey, we got somebody around here. Like I enjoy it because it feels like you go from being so isolated to actually being part of the world. And you could help people build things. You could build things. You could leave things for people. Leave messages or help them traverse a little easier or give them warnings. Like I enjoy it because it's super interactive and dynamic, and instead of just being a plain plate.
So how trolly is it? Because like with Dark Souls, you got the little things that people can give
It
you
really
tips
hasn't
on.
been.
It really hasn't been. Like everybody seems
So
to
it's
be
a totally
pretty
different
fucking
community,
legit.
basically. Like
Yeah.
It seems like everyone's legit. Like I'll see a bunch of these like red signs in the area, and it's like, oh, this must be a BT zone. We got to be careful
And then
around
it'll
here.
start raining.
And it's like, okay, we got to be careful around this area. Like, and then like you'll get bridges over these really horrible rivers that I had to cross the first time getting through here because I wasn't connected, and then coming back through after connecting, it's like, okay, we got bridges now. We could do this easier. It's more accessible for everybody, and you see more footprints for everybody else that's traveling around, so you can see different paths that people have taken. So I'm pretty sure my path up the mountain is like somebody's like, who the fuck went up that way? You can't go past there. These motherfuckers
Chicken
crazy.
went up. He was trying to go up and over a mountain range, and there's an invisible wall at a certain place. So it's like, oh, well now
so
we know that.
All the way back down and come around. So
yeah, it's been very different. I'm kind of interested to see what he wants to do with because the power of the cloud could be used for a lot more than just your save stuff. Mm-hmm. I kind of wonder what he wants to do with it.
Yeah, like if I had to guess, he's probably going to evolve on this dynamic of the world, because it grows and evolves as you're playing. And if you have everybody in the game is linked up to the cloud, it's like, how were you like everybody? It's like you're playing a solo MMO where everything is going on in the world at the same time, but you were only by yourself. But people can affect it. I don't know, man. I'm not even gonna try to fucking decipher what he wants to do with this technology that we don't even have yet.
I will say one of the negatives though is being cloud-based means that you need your internet connection. And if you're having some spotty internet issues, or you have a weak connection to start with, that's less fun. I know
stand
ours
by the fact
is
that
usually
internet
okay,
should be a public utility still.
It should be, or at least better regulated. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he might be able to put together. I think it'll either be absolutely glorious or it'll suck a lot. He is getting into he's treading that line where he's getting very close to Peter Molyneux territory, where he starts making wild claims that he may not be able to commit on. So I don't want him to get too far into that territory. I'm glad that he didn't say what he wanted to.
He doesn't seem like the completely crazy asshole though that Molyneux ended up turning into.
I mean, crazy, yes. Asshole, probably not. Enough people like him that I think he's probably a good dude.
He is a narcissist though, because oh my god, nobody toots his own horn quite like he does.
Yeah, but I mean, you can be a narcissist and not an asshole.
That is very true. That is very true. He is definitely a narcissist, but not the asshole kind. But
yeah,
he is out there. But I mean, his products, like after he is done rambling and being out there, he brings you this thing. It's like, I don't even want to know how you made this, but this is so fucking good. I'm gonna take this. Thank you. You go back to doing whatever you were doing. I'm not even gonna try. So, I mean, good on him. He is an extraordinarily talented individual, and he has a wild mind for some out there stories. And it's just one of those things you just let him do. Let him do.
Well, I guess in other news, people are still upset about the Silent Hill thing, and Bloober Team is like, hey, you know what, we're gonna try to be faithful to the original title, which is good. I like that they are gonna try to stick to the main bones of the original game, since they were so good. I think a lot of the people crying about changing stuff are... A lot of the upset is, oh, but the original voice acting was so good, it had so much nuance. And it's like, no, they hired a dude that didn't actually voice act to do that game, and you are reading subtext into a thing that there was never meant to be subtext in. He was not awkward and stilted because the character was meant to be that way. He was awkward and stilted because he was not an actor. Stop reading subtext into it. They're like,
they just needed someone cheap.
Yeah, I mean, basically that's what it was. They hired cheap acting at the time, and that was it. Like, that was the core of it. And I think you can obviously be faithful to the original and come out really well. Look what Capcom's done with Resident Evil, for especially RE2. RE3 they strayed a little, but RE2 really tried to.
Different company made RE3, and they are very happy. The company that made RE2 is the one making RE4, and they have stated, and I told Grif this too, that they're not cutting content. Like, they're gonna be as faithful and direct as possible. So that's got a lot of us like elevated a little bit higher. It's like, oh my god, I can't wait.
Well, that definitely seems to be a large driving portion of concern, and people are like, oh, but the medium wasn't good. It's like, yeah, but Layers of Fear was good. So I mean, like, let's give them a shot here, especially since, you know, they have a framework to work with already. They don't have to like try to make new systems themselves. I think it's gonna be okay. Yeah,
reading the article, it's like they're going in and rebuilding this game from the ground up and sticking. If I had to guess, they probably got both games running and being like, all right, are these good? Are these side by sides? Okay, this is old and outdated mechanic, or this is an old and outdated area. Let's update it. Let's make it look better. Like, because I've seen a few parts where in Resident Evil 4 the remake, where the whole village part, it looks almost identical, but the new one is extraordinarily updated. Like, they made more things destructible.
They're going to be able to put details in that they wouldn't be able to put otherwise. And the thing is, too, is I think a lot of these people that love the game are looking at it from a nostalgia look. You know, that this is nostalgic to me. This is something that I enjoyed growing up with and enjoyed this game, and I don't want it to change. You can't change it, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, all right, this town, you know, we'll use the example that he was just on with the village thing in RE4, but it's like you have four actual village huts here because that's all the engine could hold. You know what I mean? Right. And now you're able to fill that out. And it's the same thing with Silent Hill. You're going to most likely be able to explore more and then give you more options to move around versus, you know, just having a kind of a full straight path. It's not going to be an open world game by any means, but it is going to be where it feels more open because it's, you know, they're trying to utilize the engine they have now versus the one that they had before.
Well, one of the things they're changing is it's going to be an over-the-shoulder camera instead of the fixed angle, which, thank God. Like, I get it, you're nostalgic for the original, but they didn't do fixed angles to add to the mystery or anything. They did it because it was what worked on that stuff.
They did. Like, Resident Evil, when they remade the first Resident Evil, they kept the fixed angles because of the way the mansion works, and the design of the game is to make it so that you don't get a free sight style. So every time you turn a corner, you're sitting there going, I have to be careful. You cannot just run through the game.
I mean, that's fine, but in Silent Hill 2, there are some parts where you're trying to move around the space and do a puzzle, or God forbid you're trying to fight a combatant, and you cannot get a sight line that tells you where you are in relation to the thing you need. It's
that's old mechanic. Like, that's old mechanics. You can make a modern game in that style. Resident Evil remake, the first one, shows that you could do that, and they can fix those problems.
Hey man, I'm fine with an over the shoulder. I'm fine with it.
Because I don't know how many times where I've tried to turn a corner in the old game, and you'd have the stick, and then it would turn the camera, and you'd run back to the other camera, and then it'd turn it again, and you'd just run back and forth, and you're like, okay, stop, change camera view, stop, now I could go. Like, those old mechanics are what make that fixed camera angle bad, is because you're trying to make it fluid, but it turns and then changes your direction and changes the camera, so you just like spin back around and you get stuck in this loop, and you're okay, this is old. This is bad mechanics. But you can do that in a modern take where it fits better.
Well, but I would argue that the part of the reason that they made the game the way that they did and created the atmosphere that they were able to make was because the only thing they were able to do was that fixed angle. So it's like they built the game around what they were capable of doing mechanically versus doing that to create the ambiance.
It's also easier to do things like that because you control the scene in each one. You don't have to worry, like in Silent Hill Downpour, where you get a full view. In the older ones, you can control what each angle is, and you don't have to worry about the peripherals on the outside. It's like triggers every time you step in. It's like this scene, this scene, this scene, one scene at a time instead of a dynamic play. So I think the over the shoulder will be much better.
It'll feel like a modern game versus one that was built 30 years ago or whenever it was built.
That's why Resident Evil 4 is one of the greatest games, is because it first broke that barrier from fixed angle horror games to an over the shoulder, and everybody was like, oh my god, this is like the greatest thing.
It's more enjoyable to watch. Like just from somebody that sits and watches the game, watching Resident Evil 4 is a lot more enjoyable than watching the originals. Because even if the plot line sucked in Resident Evil 4, which it doesn't, but if it sucked, it would be one of those things where it's like, I would much rather watch this because the angle seems right.
At least I can see what's going on.
Yeah. What keeps hitting you? I don't know. I can't see the camera.
I have no problem in those games, so everybody's got their preferences and things like that. I watch a streamer who plays old games like that, and I enjoy them just as much as I enjoy modern mechanics. But again, everyone's got their own tastes and things like that.
I mean, I grew up with it, but it's like I've also evolved past it to where I'm like,
I have too, but that doesn't ever mean that I have to not enjoy it because I like modern stuff too.
I will say with something like this, because it is a remake, there's still ways,
modern expectations.
Well, there are still ways for you to get the original if you want it. Like, they're not the best ways. You can't like go out to Steam and buy it. I mean, Xbox has the HD collection, which gave you the option to play in a kind of upgraded version, or the old one, I think. I know it let you keep old voice acting if you wanted to, and I think it let you keep the old control scheme if you wanted to, but even their updated control scheme was still, oh my god. Like, let me play Silent Hill 2 where it doesn't feel like I'm trying to control an elephant, and I might,
it's a tank. It's a tank that you're trying to control.
It's tank controls, I know, but it's good god, sometimes trying to maneuver in that game is like, I want to run away, but I'm apparently stuck to a wall, and I can't turn far enough to run away. Uh-oh, I'm dead. Okay, let's go again.
Tank control, so frustrating.
But I'm interested to see what Bloober does with it. Like, they do want to update some things that just have changed too much with the passage of time to be, they'd be irrelevant in a current setting. I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I do wonder if that means that the scene where he gets a VHS tape, it'll be like a jump drive that he has to plug into a laptop or something. I don't know if I want that to change. That's still,
I would assume they keep the stuff like classic style. It's
same
like
year.
In Resident Evil 2 is still placed in 1990.
Yeah.
There are VHSs, and you've got to do the old, dipping the picture in the ink and then letting it dry and things like that for the police station instead of it being modern. Yeah, instead of it just being like all digital cameras, things like that. So there's still old stuff like that. Like, it is a timed piece. You can't just modernize it in its entirety. You can modernize the game, don't modernize the story.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It doesn't have a date yet. Still, eventually.
I assume it'll be, if not this year, because they do not. Don't go against Resident Evil. Let Resident Evil come out. Give it some time.
When is Resident Evil 4 coming out?
March.
Okay, yeah, no, it won't be March.
I would assume it would probably be late this year, or early next year.
It'd be holiday at the earliest. Holiday 2023 at the earliest.
I'd be very surprised if it's here at the holiday.
Yeah, I don't think it will be. I don't think that they have it ready yet. I think that they're still like deep working on it. I think that they just wanted to give the hype.
I see fall of 2024.
Stay away from all Resident Evil releases.
I'm sure they will. Compete. I don't think that they'll compete with them, and I think that announcing Silent Hill 2 was a way to juice up the fandom, and I think we'll see at least one of the other games they announced before we get Silent Hill 2.
Yes, Silent Hill 2 will be the bridge that brings Silent Hill back into the fold, and then they'll start releasing the other stuff. If not,
like I said, I think they'll release one of them before Silent Hill 2.
I'm hoping for more Castlevanias and Suikodens.
Well, I guess if they can revive Silent Hill and its franchise, then they'll probably look at some of their other old franchises like Castlevania, especially with the success of the animated show.
Yes.
That would be my guess. My guess. And then I guess the only other thing was that there was a playable Left 4 Dead prototype now. If you wanted to see what Left 4 Dead started as, which was a Counter-Strike mod, you can take a look at that.
The original, the mod that started the co-op zombie genre. It's hard to like find a spot things like that. But that right there were Left 4 Dead before it was Left 4 Dead, because when Left 4 Dead came out, everybody knows that the zombie genre just blew up. I mean, it went kaboom. And it was just some stupid little mod where it was 1v like 10 people, and then they would rush at you with knives and you'd have to hold off. And somebody was like, "Oh, there's something here. Let's develop this further and see what we can get out of this." And it evolved into Left 4 Dead, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is it. This is it." And then they came out with Left 4 Dead, and here we are, fucking 12 years later, 13, 14, 15 years later, 16 years later, with Left 4 Dead 2, still one of the highest played games to this day. Like, they definitely had gold, and Left 4 Dead 2 is so much fun. Just throw in. I like to do some 10v10s every now and then. You just jump into a giant 20-person match and jump around as a hunter or chase anime people, or I don't know. It's wild. Get attacked by Minecraft zombies or Plants vs. Zombies, or I don't know, whatever people have as their mods.
Shoot your cat,
Yeah.
Your cat
Kitty
gun.
guns.
That's not actually shooting a cat. It is a cat gun that you shoot other people with. It's great.
Oh, it's crazy.
Throw a Pokeball in as a boomer vial.
Yes. It's
Too funny. Anything
Crazy.
else?
I think that's it.
No,
it's a good
I
long
mean,
show.
Nearly an hour and a half long. What are you talking about?
It's an hour and a half, but you're only getting it every other week, so it works out to be 2 45-minute listens if you want to break it up.
Well, that's not too bad at all.
Not too bad. Or if you just, feeling froggy, you can listen to the whole thing and then listen to it again. Just,
We'll put us on repeat.
Yes,
Like,
always.
Oh, God, don't do that.
No, please do. Shh, don't listen to that man. We do appreciate everybody who hangs out with us each and every other week. See what I did there? With Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Grif.
At Grif Slanum.
Check out Chicken.
Add Elite Chicken through and three.
Check out Baka.
Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go down to the bottom, hit that sub button, the little bell, so you can get the notification when we have posted one of these. That way you'll know. Also, make sure that you go to twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313, where he's been currently playing through Elden Ring, which I've missed the last 2 or 3. I think it was 2 because one of them got messed up for your internet or something.
Yeah, internet.
Yeah.
God damn, man. Ugh.
Speaking of internet problems, see, can't do cloud.
Man, it's shitty, man. Pay for it and don't even get it.
But also go to twitch.tv/MDB Oaktree. I will be live tonight, but I won't be live again until next week because I'll be gone all week long to Disney World for my solo trip there. Hopefully, I'll have my voice back by then. I don't know what happened during the night. I literally fell asleep, woke up, and this is what I sounded like, so have no clue. But I feel fine. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, for Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
I'm Baka.
See you.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.